welcome everybody to the Australian Hypnosis Conference. I am Trish Pellin, and this video is brought to you by Justin Lett's Golden Thread Trauma Transformation Protocol. Transform your life and overcome the effects of trauma. Now, today, I have Drew. I can see you smirking, mister. I have Drew on board, and when Drew applied to be a speaker, I literally squealed at your topic. I did. I was like, doing it. So it's your topic is actually the original reason why I got into hypnosis.
Oh,
And then
really?
and then I never followed it because I ended up doing gut directed because my partner's family was so sick and it was affecting them.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. So Drew's topic is
Hmm.
understanding erotic hypnosis.
Oh, that's
Tell us
right.
more. Tell us more. Tell me more.
Yeah, so I guess I got to just go back a little bit just to tell you how I got into it. But that's
Yeah, yeah.
interesting because, like you said, it's been around for a long time. It's nothing new. The whole design behind it's always been there. But what I did is I actually stumbled across it by mistake, as you do.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess most things happen by mistake.
Yeah, yeah.
Scientists can tell you that for a hands-on experience. So
Mm.
so what I did is I first and foremost, that's not my camera. There's a blooper for you. um, so first and foremost, as an entertainer, that's my other job I do. So I was doing comedy hypnosis. As a result of doing, long story short, as I was doing the comedy hypnosis, I would finish up most of my acts, leaving the participants with an orgasmic experience.
Oh,
So
wow.
so I found this quite popular amongst the audience, but I also found it very popular amongst the actual participants, because I would get people coming back to me later on and telling me how they felt and giving testimonials and so forth. And so I wasn't deliberately setting out to do an erotic show or anything like that. It was just a point of fun and something that I could show the power of hypnosis. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really what I thought, because I mean, I know you can make someone go cold and you can actually show goosebumps on someone's arm and actually show the physical side of the therapy. So I thought, wow, that's amazing that I can actually do that. I was bewildered by what I could do, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
So and the power of it and how I did it really intrigued me. So as a researcher, I really wanted to know more about this. And so I went out and I researched. And so I started discovering and started learning, and I started developing my own way, a style of doing erotic hypno. And so I had also clients coming to me that were having problems, dysfunctional problems in the bedroom, having self-esteem issues.
Yes.
Yeah, which is huge. The self-esteem issues is massive.
Yeah, I wonder where that stems from sometimes because even when I was younger, so I'm a big girl. I'm still a big girl. But when I was younger, I was like 140 kilos. And I was always like, nah, I'm never going to find a sexual partner because I'm so fat.
Yeah.
And they're the things that we tell
And
ourselves.
you start catastrophizing those thoughts, and so they just manifest. And of course, what we push out and believe in ourselves is what we perceive, what we project,
And what
right?
we attract. Yep, yep.
Yeah. So so I realized, and I always did see, I foremost did the comedy hypnosis because I wanted to incorporate that as a modality into my other business. But then I realized, like everyone else that's watching this, that the power of hypnosis and the amazing things you can do to transform people's lives was just amazing. And what the brain does, I just couldn't fathom. I still can't fathom. I still sit there some days going, but how? How? We run on
I
10%. What's going on here?
honestly, I can only imagine what things we'll discover over the next 500 years, like when it comes to our
Yeah.
brains and what we will know about ourselves and evolution.
Yeah.
Like, wish I'd be
Correct.
there to see it.
So there is those things. So I had people coming to me for issues inside the tissues with obviously relationships and self-esteem, and also dysfunction as well. impotency, stuff like that. We're talking physical stuff now. And so one classic case I had was a young chap that came to me who was married, who had children, and he wasn't performing. He would obviously just not, in the short of it, not get it up. And so he was letting his partner down. The relationship was failing and falling apart. So he came to me. We did some of the erotic hypnosis. We implemented some of those strategics and strategies in there. And so he went away, gave him time to obviously let that digest.
Process, yeah.
And I touched both. Yeah. And contacted him and I said, mate, how's it going? As an Aussie, g'day, mate. How's it going?
Yeah. What's going on, mate?
So that's one thing about me. I'm very down to earth. And I guess that's what also helps with the rapport building as well. I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. I am who I am. So, which is vitally important. So yeah. I then got told by him that he didn't believe it worked. And I was like, oh, okay. It's not what you want to hear as a practitioner, but I went, yeah, go ahead. Can you tell me a little bit more about, why it didn't work, why you think it didn't work? And so he went on, he said, well, I think it did, but I don't know. And then he started kind of second guessing and didn't make it was just rambling at this point. So I said, look, long story short, do you want to come back in and do you want to have another session and see if we can reinstill some of those things that we did and the techniques and stuff? So he said, yeah, okay, that might be a good idea. So he said, yeah, there was some difference. So when he came to see me, he said there was some difference. And he said it wasn't 100% what he expected. He had an expectation.
Usually what it comes down to, the expectation.
And that's what he was basing this whole thing on, was his expectation of what he thought should have happened, not what should have and is happening. So we went through, we did a second session. At the end of the session, let him settle down, let him just get comfortable before he drove. And then I said, so how did you feel? Any thoughts, anything you want to share with me? And then he said to me, oh, yeah, by the way, I forgot my wife's pregnant.
Just let that slip. But it didn't work.
No. Well,
like, do you know how it works? It's got to go in to come out. Like,
correct. So, I mean, unless it's not his, but I'm sure it is. It worked. It worked. Here's a guy who's saying he couldn't perform in the bedroom, and he loved his wife, had a beautiful family, and loved his kids, and then all of a sudden, here's number 3 on the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but he didn't. Yeah, and what I digest from that is the whole experience of expectations, but also that, as you know, the unconscious mind works behind the scenes. It just does what it does. You don't know what it, like, I don't realize until I think about it, my feet touching the ground. That's
exactly. It's always there, protecting, guiding, desiring.
Correct.
Yeah.
So his critical faculties kicked in, and he's questioning, and the conscious brain's rambling, and yeah.
And that's why we get so much comparison as well. Like, should me and the wife be having sex every second day or third day or once a month? Like,
correct.
That's where the expectation comes down to. And it's not, there's no textbook answer for this stuff. It's just what works for you guys. What can you communicate with? Like, yeah.
So the idea behind giving this talk is to, first and foremost, explain to people that don't really understand what erotic hypno is, because again, there's that expectation, there's that belief of what they perceive it is and stuff like that. So I kind of want to crunch that, and I kind of want to get down to the facts, but I also want to show and prove to people that it's not seedy. It's not.
There's not taboo or anything like that. Like, it's actually so like I'm in a few communities, and just kind of watch what other people are doing, and it's actually an art form as well. Like, expressing yourself with your partner is a beautiful art form of togetherness. So yeah, honestly. And I think that especially in Australia, like, when it comes to therapists or therapy sort of thing, when a lot of people go to therapists or therapy, they don't actually know how to express what the problem is. And there's a lot of therapists that can say, oh, well, it's just anxiety. And it's like, well, just because you think it's anxiety doesn't mean the client thinks it's anxiety, you
That's
know?
correct.
So
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, I
Yeah.
can't wait. Honestly, I'm gonna be like saying to my
Yeah.
crew, take over the conference. I've got to go to this talk. Like,
Yeah. Look, it definitely it's going to be an eye opener. I mean, you
mm,
can't be going in there and you've got to have an open mind, and I
yeah,
would imagine that anyone stepping in that room or watching it, live is going to have an open mind, because I mean,
yeah,
as therapists, that is key to what we do. We have to
mm,
obviously have an open mind. So
hmm,
but it is a very therapeutic, it is a very helpful thing that I've discovered. It's amazing because I incorporate that with the erogenous zones and stuff like that. So
yep, and
it's
yep.
yeah, it's just goes and steps outside just the realms of hypnotherapy. So
And
you're
we've got
looking at
other realms
other
coming in and communities as well. So we've got the polyamorous, the monogamous sort of thing, fetishes versus desires. I'll
yes,
reveal one to you that I found out the other day. I didn't even know it was a thing. And I was actually watching ABC iView, You Can't Ask That. And they were talking about erotica. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll watch this, you know. And anyway, one of the ladies on there, she said, "Oh, I'm into a fetish that's not very well known in Australia." And I was working online, I pricked up my ears, and she
yeah,
goes, "I'm into armpit sniffing." And I was like,
okay,
no, no, I can't do that." But I was like, no, no,
yeah,
come with an open mind and sense of curiosity, Trish. I'm like, no, I wouldn't do that. But why do you do it? Like, it's,
correct.
and like, those people feel so, kind of oppressed in a way because we're always being told, don't talk about fetishes or desires or things like that. But it's part
Correct.
of human
Yeah.
nature to experiment as well. So,
And look, this is it. And this is another thing that I've discovered along the way as well, because as much as this can be used for the individual, the couple,
mhm.
the group, or erotic play, there's so many people out there in society that you look at in so many different roles and professional roles, and people, of seniority, that are obviously living a double life.
Yeah,
To
this
put,
is very
yeah,
marginalized. Very.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's the public perception that you must act and behave this way. And we are being suppressed. So this is another reason for people to find someone like myself to get there and go, you know what? I want to blah. And I want to feel what, because, the sad thing is there's a lot of, especially women, that haven't actually experienced a true orgasm.
That I have to agree with, honestly,
It's
because
true.
even when I talk to people in the polyamorous community inside of Ballarat, that's one of the biggest things they talk about. And like even recently, my best friend's father passed away, and her mother and father had been together since they were 14 years old. And my best friend turned to her mum recently and she goes, "How do you even know if you've had a good orgasm?"
You'd
And I'm
know.
like, I'm like,
You'd know.
that's a good question, but I think she'd know. Like, and it
Yeah.
does pose these questions. And, especially women, they don't communicate that they haven't orgasmed, out of fear of putting the partner down or something. So it's a
Yeah.
real thing. It's a real thing.
It is. It absolutely, and it's quite sad. It's really sad that there are people out there who, one, think they're not sure they have, and they never have. And so this therapy is a way of reaching that and getting to
Climax.
that
Yeah.
point, literally, and so that they get to experience that either by themselves or with a partner or a group. As I say, it's open pretty much to anything and everything, but it's all done with discretion, it's all done professionally, it's
And
all done with
feeling safe
ethics,
and
moral
secure.
values.
Yep.
Correct. It's
Yep.
not just get in there, and let's just watch you. It's not a stage show.
Yeah.
This is therapy.
Yep.
Yeah, this is
Absolutely.
different. And even with my stage shows, it doesn't go to that point of going past that. There's
Yeah, the
always
embarrassment
ethics and
stage.
morals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it's within the scopes, and as we know, hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So, they're always in control. There's always things that we implement when we do these things with erotica, so that they have, safe words and stuff like that. So there is people that use it for bondage and use it for fetishes. Absolutely. So you want to ensure that there's safety and there's guidelines in that as well. So these get implemented. So it's a professional role, and it's one that I thought was quite niche, and I thought that it was in my face, and I just thought, well, I could either just keep going and dealing with what I get in my face, or could I just research and develop and become something more for people to come to get help and to actually see for themselves that this does work, and it does work.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I'm going to be there. I cannot wait.
It's going to be good. Yeah, it'll be pleasurable.
Absolutely. Hands-free orgasms for all.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you everybody for watching this video. Please jump onto the Australian Hypnosis Conference. Drew is going to be presenting Understanding Erotic Hypnosis. So if you've got any qualms or questions, he's very open. Just ask. All right, lovelies. We will catch everybody in the future. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much for that, darling. Thank you so
That's all right.
much.
I'm
blah,
not
blah,
wearing
blah.
makeup.
I'm wearing filters and some makeup. So in real life, you'll be like, oh, her skin is not that smooth.